Honey oak cabinets get blamed for everything. Dated, orange, 90s. But here's the twist nobody says out loud. The cabinets were never the problem. The wall color was. Get that wrong and the oak turns nuclear. Get it right and the same wood suddenly looks custom, warm, expensive. 7 shades, 7 hex codes, one very different kitchen. For 2 decades, the only advice anyone gave was simple. Paint over it. Kill the orange. That made sense in the age of pure white minimalism, when warmth was treated like a personality flaw. Then the pendulum swung. Warm wood is back, hard, and designers are now hunting golden grain down at salvage yards. Honey oak was never cheap. Honey oak badly framed looks cheap. Framing is everything. Honey oak has an orange undertone with a yellow chaser. That's the whole puzzle. Wall color either fights that orange, echoes it, or balances it. Fight it with a cold blue gray and the kitchen reads like a dentist's waiting room. Echo it with an equally yellow beige and the room turns into butterscotch pudding. Balance wins, and balance comes 2 ways. Reach for the opposite side of the color wheel, which lands in greens and blues, or lean so far into warmth that the whole room becomes one deliberate, cozy statement. Then there's light, the lever most people forget. North-facing kitchens drain warmth and push color toward gray. South-facing kitchens pump warmth in all day and make beige creep orange by 5 o'clock. Sample 2 walls, watch them at morning and at golden hour, then commit. Start with the safest, gorgeous option in the room. Not builder white. Not that stark, chalky white that makes oak look like a sunburn. A soft, warm white with a hint of cream and the faintest whisper of gray to keep it from going yellow. Standing in that kitchen at 9 in the morning, the light is thin and cool, and this white holds steady. It looks fresh, not clinical. By late afternoon, when the sun drops low and starts throwing gold across the floor, the white absorbs that warmth, and the oak stops shouting and starts glowing. The cabinets read as honeyed, intentional, almost Scandinavian. To keep it from being boring, and it can absolutely be boring, texture does the heavy lifting. Think unlacquered brass pulls that will patina over the years into something moody and gorgeous. A linen Roman shade with a slightly nubby weave. Maybe a chunky ceramic bowl. The white becomes a canvas, and the oak becomes art. Now for the crowd favorite, and honestly the one that converts skeptics fastest. Sage sits opposite orange in the color wheel neighborhood, so it does the balancing work automatically. But it's muted and dusty enough that it never feels like a Christmas situation. There's something almost herbal about the pairing. Golden wood and soft green together feel like an old farmhouse in Provence that someone very cool inherited. Morning light makes the sage feel crisp and almost gray. Evening light warms it into something closer to olive. It's a color with moods, which is exactly what a kitchen needs. Pair it with zellige tile in a creamy off-white for the backsplash. Those handmade, slightly irregular tiles catch light unevenly and add the kind of imperfection that makes a room feel human. Add aged brass, and the whole thing looks like it took 30 years to come together, which is the entire point. Time to get brave. Deep forest green is sage after a few espressos and a personality transformation. This one is not for the faint of heart, and it's magnificent. Dark walls make honey oak pop like a piece of sculpture. The contrast is dramatic, and suddenly nobody's looking at the cabinets and thinking dated. They're looking and thinking custom. The trick with deep green is light management. In a bright kitchen with big windows, it feels lush and enveloping, like the inside of a very expensive library. In a dark galley kitchen with one sad window, it can feel like a cave, and not the fun kind. Compensate with warm bulbs, around 2700 Kelvin, and under-cabinet lighting that washes the counters. Bring in a marble or a warm quartz countertop with visible veining. The green grounds, the oak warms, the stone lifts. Chef's kiss. And yes, that's the closest thing to a bullet point in this whole script. For anyone who wants neutral but has been burned by beige, Greige is the redemption arc. It's gray and beige holding hands, and when the beige side is slightly stronger, it flatters honey oak beautifully. What makes it work is that Greige has enough gray to cool down the orange without going icy. It reads as sophisticated and quiet. The walls recede, the cabinets step forward, and the room feels layered instead of flat. This is the shade that plays best with mixed metals. Brushed nickel on the faucet, brass on the hardware, a black iron pendant over the island. Greige is diplomatic. It lets everyone get along. Throw in an oatmeal linen runner and a wooden cutting board leaning against the backsplash, and the kitchen looks like it belongs in a very calm person's home. Aspirational, honestly. Blue and orange are complementary, which sounds like a design school lecture until it's actually on a wall and the effect is immediate. But the key word is muted. A bright, saturated blue next to honey oak is a nautical costume party. Slate blue, dusty and softened with gray, does something much cleverer. It cools the room without freezing it. The oak looks warmer by contrast, richer, more amber than orange. Morning light in a north-facing kitchen will push this blue toward gray, which is lovely and moody. South-facing light pulls it towards something almost coastal. Textures that sing here are matte black fixtures, a whitewashed oak floor if that's an option, and open shelving with stoneware in cream and speckled clay. The palette feels like a slow Sunday. Take that slate blue, turn the drama dial all the way up, and here it is. Navy against honey oak is the pairing designers reach for when they want a kitchen to feel like it has an opinion. The wood looks like it's lit from inside. The navy holds the room down like a good baseline. It's classic, it's confident, and it's the sort of thing that makes a guest pause in the doorway. Best move here is committing to an accent wall or the lower half of a two-tone situation, especially in smaller kitchens where full navy might swallow the light. Bring in unlacquered brass again, because navy and aged brass is one of the great love stories of interior design, and a warm white ceiling to keep everything breathing. Add a rattan pendant for texture, and the whole thing feels collected rather than decorated. Last one, and the boldest choice on the list. Instead of balancing the orange, this one leans in and turns the whole kitchen into a warm, sun-soaked embrace. Terracotta shares DNA with honey oak, which sounds like a recipe for mush, except it isn't, because terracotta is deeper, redder, and more earthy. The oak becomes the light element in the room. The clay becomes the anchor. Together they feel Mediterranean, a little Moroccan, deeply lived in. Golden hour is when this palette earns its keep. Late sun hits the clay walls and the entire kitchen turns the color of a good apricot. Layer in zellige tile in a glossy cream, terracotta pots, a jute rug, and plants trailing off the top of the cabinets. Biophilic design just means bringing living things and natural materials indoors so the brain relaxes. And this palette is basically that idea in paint form. Here's what all 7 of these shades have in common. Not one of them apologizes for the oak. Great design isn't about hiding the thing that seems like a flaw. It's about giving that thing the right company. Honey oak was never the problem. It was just standing next to the wrong color, in the wrong light, for about 2 decades, waiting for someone to notice how beautiful it actually is. Grab 2 sample pots, paint 2 walls, watch them shift through a whole day, and trust what the light tells at sunset. That's the whole secret.